Hey guys, what's up? Chief Pat here, and today bringing you guys a brand new Clash Royale video. And today we're going to be trying out a new deck on my main account using the Furnace. And the Furnace is definitely one of the more interesting cards inside of the game. When the Furnace came out, you guys might remember it cost 5 elixir and it was way weaker. It was actually probably the worst card inside of the entire game when it came out. And since then, it's undergone a lot of changes. It now costs 4 elixir. It has a lot more HP, I think. So it's actually been used a lot. I actually think some of the top decks in the game use the Furnace. So let's try it out today using this deck. Of course, we do have the Miner as well as the Guards, 2 cards that came out, I guess, in the 2 updates ago. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and start off by dropping a Miner in the very back. I dropped the Guards. This was a little bit of an awkward combination towards the very beginning, but he played the Skeleton, Zap, and the Cannon, so he did place a pretty decent amount of elixir on defense, as well as my minions cleaned up the Valkyrie right there. So let's go ahead and play our Furnace on the very bottom and to start putting that Furnace to work. Now, the Musketeer actually is pretty effective against the Furnace. She can one-shot both of them, and if you guys know the Towers 2-shot an even level Fire Spirit from the Furnace, so keep that in mind when you're playing it. But so far, things are looking okay. I'm actually going to use the Distracting Hog Rider to my advantage by dropping the Miner on the tower, and from here on out, my Mini P.E.K.K.A. doesn't have any aggro, can actually get a swing off against the Valkyrie before he dies. And we did get a decent amount of damage off against the tower. So with this deck, you're looking to control the game by putting the Furnace in the very center. If you can drop a second Furnace, obviously that's nice. The Furnace has a pretty hefty amount of hit points, so definitely one of the few buildings that I recommend in the center rather than placing it behind your towers for the first placement. And now I'm going to start with my Lava Hound, and this is where we get a really scary push going. We're going to have the Furnace dropping the Fire Spirits, or at least it just died right there. But from here on out, let's go and play our Furnace to drop some Fire Spirits to help stop that Hog Rider, and we can start snowballing our push down the left-hand lane. We've got 2 minions following up on that Lava Hound as well as a Miner, and the Furnace is going to start spitting some of those Fire Spirits down the lane to help out. Now, the Poison Spell is going to work out pretty well against the Lava Pup's Furnace as well as those minions, so we're not going to get as much tower damage as we would have liked, but still, the tower's all the way down to 1410, plus he had to drop a Zap spell onto that Miner right there and drop a Cannon to stop the Furnace. So the Furnace only costs 4 elixir, and he just played a 3 elixir Cannon, which is almost already dead just from 1 Furnace hitting it. So we're definitely controlling the pace of the game right now, and even with that maxed out Musketeer, which should help out against some of my troops, really not going to do too much. We can play our Guards as well as our Mini P.E.K.K.A. to stop the Hog, and as soon as the Musketeer locks onto the Lava Hound, I'm going to go ahead and play my cards to knock out that Musketeer. Alright, so Poison Spell plus the Lava Hound as well as the Mini P.E.K.K.A. running towards the tower. I'm even going to zap down the Musketeer, but he's going to play his own zap as well. But with the Poison taking away, another Furnace going down in the very center, there's almost nothing he can do to defend that tower, and the Lava Pups are going to spit out the flames to take that tower down for the very first tower of the game. So at this point, time to set up a counter push. With 10 seconds left, this one is pretty much over. Just a little bit of insurance. I'll drop the Miner and the Lava Hound on the right-hand lane. The Furnace still kicking in the very center, even the Poison Spell going ham on it. And with the Hog Rider running towards the tower, that is pretty much the game, and it'll wrap up a pretty simple 1 crown to 0 victory. So you guys saw what I did there. I sort of played the Furnace like an elixir pump. I kept playing the Furnace as soon as I had an elixir advantage or to gain an advantage in one lane, and eventually it sort of just whittled him down, and then combining that with the Mini P.E.K.K.A. as well as the Miner and the Lava Hound push, I was able to control the game and pull out a pretty simple 1 crown to 0 victory. So let's go and try this again. We're going to be playing Archive Sunshine. Looks like he's going to be using a different deck. Obviously, the Princess is going to be pretty good against the Furnace. It's one of the best counters due to the fact that it can take out the Fire Spirits in a single shot. Meanwhile, in the left-hand lane, he gets super lucky and his Princess actually aims over there. And by lucky, obviously, there's not really a lot of luck with that. I just sort of made an error right there. But check out the right-hand lane. The Mini P.E.K.K.A. and 2 Fire Spirits from the Furnace locked onto the tower. The Fire Spirits took out the Goblins as soon as they even got close to the Mini P.E.K.K.A. And that takes the tower all the way down to 356 HP, which is almost in poisoned range. And definitely I can drop a Miner on it as well to seal up the very first tower of the game. So at this point, things are looking really good. Obviously, the Fire Spirits are going to do work against those Barbarians if he lets them even get close. And we actually did get one of the Fire Spirits off on the Musketeer, so I'll just drop my Poison Spell the same time he drops his Princess, and the Princess is going to die. And even though I dropped my Guards right here, I actually didn't have to. The Musketeer was still inside of the poison range. I was just worried about the Musketeer getting like 2 or 3 shots off against the tower because she was at like 1 HP, and I didn't know if she was going to walk out of the poison, but still, 2 more Fire Spirits hitting the tower right there, and we're starting to get paid off from that Furnace big time. So at this point, he's going to play a pump in the very back. Wanting to deal with that pump, I could drop my miner, but instead I'm just going to deal with the Royal GG. So the mini P.E.K.K.A is going to start slapping it away. A miner in the very back now, and it looks like it's actually going to go just a half second before the Lava Hound can take the aggro from the tower. But meanwhile, mini P.E.K.K.A is going to lock on to the tower. Mini P.E.K.K.A takes 2 shots, almost a 3rd shot to take that tower all the way down to 458. And as soon as that Lava Hound explodes, I think this should be good right there. I'm actually going to drop my poison and try to clip the tower on the right-hand side, but I missed. So with 53 seconds left in the game, this game is pretty much wrapped up. I can just drop a mini P.E.K.K.A to stop that Musketeer. He's getting a little bit desperate, and of course the mini P.E.K.K.A is going to take out that level 10 Musketeer in a single shot. Miner going to go down on the right-hand side, and with 2 swipes, that'll knock out the 2nd tower of the game. And he'll still be working on that tower in our left-hand lane, so this one is pretty much sealed up. So Royal Giant going to take a couple of swings. Tower's down to 587. The Princess is still there as well. I'll just drop another another Furnace in the back. Really no reason not to. Of course, that means my tower is probably going to go down with that next Princess shot. So 17 seconds left in the game. 2 crowns to 1. I'll go for a 3 crown. Probably not going to get it due to the fact that he's still playing defense. Not giving me my crown chest. Come on, bro. But still, game's going to be over. And that's going to wrap it up for a pretty simple victory. So again, Furnace worked out really well right there. We'll actually get that tower all the way down to the 900s. But the Furnace, I played mainly one in the center. I also played one in the bottom left towards the very end of the game. But still, just controlling the pace of the game. That's what this deck is all about. You control the pace, you get a nice slow Lava Hound push going in, and then finally you can capitalize with some of your follow-up cards, like the Miner. You can drop the mini P.E.K.K.A as well. You can also drop the guards. Those are more defensive, but the minions definitely pack a punch behind the Lava Hound. So that's sort of the main push I've been going for so far inside of the game. Alright, so the last battle of the day, let's attack Max Payne of Aussie HQ. Looks like he's going to start with the Valkyrie Musketeer push down the right-hand lane. He might be using the typical Hog cycle deck that I use on my Chief Pat 2 account, which is the Valkyrie, Hog Rider, Musketeer, and the Poison, which of course you can see I'm able to sniff out so far. The Musketeer does have a little bit of HP, so she did get some shots off against my Lava Hound, but now at this point we can go in for the kill. He made a little bit of a mistake committing so hard right there, and actually this one should be pretty slick, so I'm just going to go ahead and go in. We've got the Musketeer that's targeting the Lava Hound. The mini P.E.K.K.A is going to start swiping away at that tower. Musketeer is going to shoot down that mini P.E.K.K.A, but not in enough time to save that tower, and with a minute gone down in the game, it's already 1 crown to 0, and this one is pretty wrapped up. Unless I make some really terrible mistakes, I don't see how I could lose this. So let's drop another Furnace, this time aiming towards the left-hand side to make sure that we get that 2nd tower. I'm not really going for the King Tower just yet, unless he goes really aggressive, let's say on the left-hand side. But yeah, so far so good. Pretty solid stuff. I don't really have to, try to do anything crazy. Obviously, when you have the lead, you want to get more towers to try to make things more secure, or you want to get more towers for your crown chest. But if you're playing super competitively and you want to get as many cups as possible, just let your opponent keep making mistakes since you already have the first crown of the game. And more likely than not, that's going to help you win more games. A lot of people, they try to go for the kill shot, they try to go for the King Tower immediately, and I see games that fly right back inside of their face because they weren't being careful enough to their opponent's counterattack. But let's go and go for the 2nd tower. He did drop that elixir pump, so I'm going to go ahead and go for a counter push on the left-hand lane. We've got the minions, we've got the mini P.E.K.K.A, the Fire Spirit. Everything's going to go down at the same time, and tower number 2 is going to go down from that mini P.E.K.K.A with another minute left inside of the battle. So at this point, I'm just going to go for the 3rd crown. He's going to drop a Hog Rider. Definitely an interesting placement right there. I was right about him using the Hog cycle deck. Don't know if you watch my Chief Pat 2 account. No, that deck is super popular. It's absolutely everywhere. But still, 39 seconds. This one's going to be a 3 crown. Tower is going to go down, and that's going to be a pretty convincing 3 crown to 0 victory against Max Payne of Aussie HQ. I think he only touched my tower like once with a single Musketeer shot. So let's just hop into one more battle to wrap this up. And it looks like he's actually going to be from the clan Nova. So starting off, taking a look at the cards we have inside of our deck, we've got the guards and the mini P.E.K.K.A, which we can play in the very beginning. I'll just start with the guards in the very back, trying to play it safe. I really don't have a great card to play right now. And since he's dropping that elixir pump, I'm actually going to go for a Miner Poison push. So this is a pretty expensive push. I was actually expecting some skeletons or goblins next to the Miner, which is why I dropped the poison. And instead, he's just going to play his Witch, which means things aren't going to be looking too hot. Now, of course, the Furnace should be pretty decent. I'll use the Furnace and the 2 Fire Spirits to kill the minion horde. It looks like some minions got separated, so it didn't work out perfectly. and I ended up dropping my zap, but the witch is going to get a couple of shots off against the tower, and still the match is pretty even so far after that initial push. Now at this point I have my lava hound, and this is the main crux for my push down the right hand lane, so let's go ahead and play that. I don't have my furnace up just yet since I did use it on defense, but with the lava hound down I can definitely start setting up and see what he's going to play, and instead of defending, he's actually going to drop his giant. Now at this point, since my card is already farther down the lane, I think it's sort of on me to go on the aggressive. I can drop my mini P.E.K.K.A on the left, and as long as I'm pressuring him hard enough on the right hand side, then he's not going to be able to do too much. Let's drop our poison spell right on top of the princess. Get ready for what he's putting in the very center, which is going to be the witch, and meanwhile my mini P.E.K.K.A is going to lock onto that giant while I attack that right hand tower. Now one minion did end up living, and that's pretty significant. I think that minion got like 5 or 6 shots off against the tower, which might be like 600 to 700 damage, so the tower's all the way down to 1116 HP. And right here, I'm going to decide to let the witch attack the tower. Now, the reason I did that is because I'm thinking of the old witch and how the old witch really didn't do that much damage, but he ends up taking over 1200 damage off of my tower. Definitely a mistake right there, guys. Do not leave a witch unattended on your tower like I did. Obviously didn't pay off too well, but still, we've got the miner onto the tower. I've got the zap spell ready, and even though it's getting shot down, it's going to take it all the way down to 264 HP, which means a single poison spell will be able to wrap that tower up. Now, of course, he has plenty of elixir to push with since he does have that collector down. I'm going to drop my poison as soon as his princess goes down and ended up taking out the tower as well as the princess. Guards and mini P.E.K.K.A to defend the tower. Furnace as well to help out against this giant. And it's sort of a power struggle right now for this very final couple of hit points on my right-hand tower, and we can see if he's actually going to be able to do it. There's still 30 more seconds, and with that minion placement, they're actually not going to kill that witch. So I have to drop another set of guards to kill that witch. The witch is going to keep pelting through my guards. The giant's already onto my tower, and with 15 seconds left, he went on an all-out push to take my first tower, and we're all tied up going into the last couple of seconds in regular time, as well as going into double elixir. Now, he has the advantage of this game. Let's make no mistake. He's got 2 pumps down. He's got the poison spell already down. He's got the giant coming down the left-hand lane. So at this point, I can only push and pray. I guess P and P is the only thing to do right now. So I'm going to drop my poison spell to stop the witch. I'll drop the mini P.E.K.K.A to kill this giant. He's going to drop his own mini P.E.K.K.A and get really aggressive for the victory. So that mini P.E.K.K.A is going to run all the way to my king tower. Really not going to do too much. The zap spell is going to go on to the minion horde. As soon as my pups explode, they're going to clean up those minions, and my mini P.E.K.K.A is going to get all the way to the tower. It's actually going to lock on right now, and with one more hit, that's going to wrap up the game and give us a solid 2 crown to 1 victory. So that final counter push guaranteed us the win. I had a couple of mistakes with poisons that if I played a little bit better, it wouldn't have been that close, but 42 trophies for the win and a pretty solid time using this deck. So yeah, feel free to try this deck out if you want, guys. I know it does involve 2 legendaries, but even if you don't use the legendaries, the furnace itself is still extremely strong. You can see how I controlled a lot of the battles. And yeah, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace out.